Ah, yeah. This is sort of fun to be up here. The big cheese. Are you recording? Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. Then I can't use my line. Mr. DeVille, I am. I'm ready for my close-up. Oh, never mind. Come on in, main auditorium, out of the kitchen. Okay, good morning. Nice to see all those faces on a nice sunny morning like this. Sort of cool. My name's Don Leake. I'll be facilitating today's talk. Invited speaker, Quinn Rowe, who's standing at attention back there by his Wisconsin Conservation Voters table. You can come up here, Quinn, and sit down. Yeah, join the group. Ann found this picture of cornfields in Wisconsin. Better than knee-high by the 4th of July. I saw some corn that was head-high on 4th of July, you know? What a growing season. But I also worry when I'm biking around, what if there was a disease that would hit the corn crop? Then what would we do? So, always a joy of summer. Yeah. Yeah. Potatoes. So a joy and a concern early. I would next say next slide, but Jonathan got the clicker working. I'm not even going to look. Let's see if it does work. How about that? Okay, Colin, you're back to being the youngest, so you can light the chalice, please. You can use the old style or the new style. And yeah, the younger generation knows how to use technology. So we had a memorial service for Gene Hector yesterday. Just a nice 3-hour sort of a visitation. People could come in, talk to the family, visit, have a little bite to eat. And one of the people that was setting up said, "Oh, what is this?" I said, "That's the flaming chalice." And she asked, "Well, what does it mean?" And as a good you, I said, "I don't know." So I looked it up, and then I conferred with Ann, who's taught religious education, spiritual education right now for many years. As she learned, she also went to high school another time so that she could learn her high school for the first time. Ann, you want to share what the flaming chalice means?
What was my information?
Yeah.
At a 15th century, Jan Hus was burned at the stake for being a heretic.
I think that was Michael Servetus.
Servetus was
All right, okay, all right.
for being a heretic, and as he was dying, he said, "The flame of truth, well, he could burn me, but the flame of truth will never die." And the chalice is the communion chalice, which you use, believe,
Christian.
or a non-sinner, everybody has the ability to take the benefit of the chalice of communion. So,
Yeah. I had to look it up on Wikipedia too. There are so many interpretations. So that's perfectly you. I mean, it means something different to everybody. So I'm going to try to remember. Chalice starts with C, so community. And there's a famous quote that Eleanor Roosevelt used a lot. Some people say Confucius started it. Nobody really knows where its origin is, according to Wikipedia. But rather than curse the darkness, light a candle, that kind of thing. So to me, that flame is the flame of hope and truth. No hands? I took some slides from a past service, but I thought, hey, let's revisit our principles. We have so few. All right? So recite with me. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person,
justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The goal of a rural community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part.
Uh-oh. Of course, that was old school. This is new school. And we decided that, at one point we would emphasize one of the 6 values of UUism. And since today is all about conservation and taking care of the environment, interdependence is that 7th principle in the previous slide. You can read it. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. That's just for you, Quinn, wherever you are. Oh, there you are. Okay, just for you. Oh, okay. So take just a couple of minutes to stand up, introduce yourself to everybody, meet and greet. Especially Quinn. You got to say hi to Quinn. Oh, come on. Give. It's got to be louder than that, Tina. Come on. Put your. There, that's it. That's better. Okay, we're almost to Quinn, but we got, 15 minutes or so. But you're invited to come up and share your joy or concern. Try to keep it brief, all right?
Well, I'm standing. I'll start. Stoneford, Jonathan. Yeah. Are you amazed? How technically inept this congregation has been. Thank you so much for getting us straightened out. It makes life so much easier. So appreciate it.
I am grateful for Nancy, who always brings many, many joys, but today to see her bringing in bundles and bouquets of flowers just was a nice welcome today.
Okay, I have two joys. First is it's really great to be back after being super busy and out of town and not being here for a while. And the other one is, I know this sounds silly, but I have lately met two lovely people. One's name is Molly, one is Angela, who I've known for a while. And I am not exactly fond of organized Christianity, but these two people are very solid Christians who believe in what I believe Christianity should be in following Jesus, and it's kind of restored some faith in me, especially reading about people looking at Donald Trump being the same as Jesus. So it's just really great. Well, equating him, I don't know. I shouldn't read the New York Times and the Washington Post, but I do. And so it just gave me a great deal of hope that I met two people who are solid, organized Christians. One even teaches in a Christian school, but when she told me about concerns for her niece who has two trans friends, and she, a solid Christian, is very supportive of accepting people for what they are and not judging them, it just gives me a little bit of hope. So I'm very joyful for that.
Happy Sunday. I just wanted to share that I'm a Rotary member, and Rotary International, if you don't know, runs like a traveling camp for kids from all over the world every summer. Our Rotary organization here in River Falls, in partnership with Hudson and Stillwater, brings in about 10 kids from all over the world, and they're in the United States for 2 weeks. They do all kinds of cool things. They arrived in the U.S. on Thursday night, and a few people in town took them into their homes for 3 days. 2 boys stayed at our house, Topias and Carlo. Topias is from Finland and Carlo's from Italy, but the other students are from all over the place, all over the world. They come together, but anyway, I think it's a joy because we're just building world community in so many ways, and Rotary works to do that in so many ways, to build a global sense of community and goodwill. So it kind of, it's just a good thing, a good thing.
Well, I got a lot of joys. Number one, these flowers here came from the visitation yesterday. Someone said, "Oh, we picked wildflowers," and there were other flowers, but we didn't want them to go to waste, so we just kept them for today. So thanks to Gene Hector's family for that. One big joy of mine, it may be a little joy, but if you remember, I read a poem by Thomas R. Smith about seeing foxes, and I saw a fox this week. It was crossing, it was pretty dangerous crossing a road here at the bypass here, going over towards the trailer court. But there it was, a little face there, and I looked in the rearview mirror after, and it was trotting across the road. So that was a big joy. And the other joy, Ann wouldn't talk about it, is the garden area. It's nice and cleaned up now, and if you didn't know, we're going for giant pumpkins, and we have a couple of starters there, so you can go look at the little baby pumpkins, and we'll measure them maybe week by week to see how fast they grow into humongous pumpkins. All right. I'm sure there's some other things that I'm joyful about, but that's it. And here's the big rock for all those joys and concerns left unspoken. So I met Quinn. He came to one of the Hope for Earth meetings this past fall, and I saw that he somewhere in the minutes that he was going to speak at Hope Lutheran, and I guess you did that, huh? I said, if Hope Lutheran can do that, we can do it. So we were inviting him to speak. He represents Wisconsin conservation voters, and he can tell you all about it. So please welcome Quinn Rowe. So yeah, there it is, down there.
All right, thank you, Don. All right, am I coming in okay? Yeah. All right, thank you. Yeah, so as Don said, my name is Quinn Rowe. I am the Western organizer with Wisconsin Conservation Voters. So I live in Hudson, and my territory is most of Western Wisconsin, but I mainly focus on Hudson, River Falls, Eau Claire, and La Crosse. So yeah, it's great to be able to speak to you all today about the work that we do and how we engage voters to protect Wisconsin's environment. All right, let's see if I can get the clicker right on the first try. I did, yay. All right, so our mission statement is to engage voters to protect Wisconsin's environment. So we do this through community organizing all throughout the state and policy advocacy at every level of government, state, local, and federal, because we do need coordination from all levels of government and from all people to fight off, such existential threats of climate change and pollution. We also do nonpartisan endorsement of candidates. We mainly focus on state and municipal elections because our national chapter, the League of Conservation Voters, focuses on the federal stuff. But yeah, we do tons of endorsements to just help make sure that candidates that support environmentalism and conservation are voted into office. So we have three main policy areas of focus. The first being protecting our drinking water, making sure that no one has to worry about what's coming out of their tap, making sure that all communities have equitable access to non-polluted drinking water. Our second policy area of focus is promoting clean energy, so just working to make sure that we're able to hamper down on polluting sorts of energy and replace them with clean energy such as solar and wind, and making sure that this is accessible for those who wish to make that transition. The third being we work to safeguard our fair and free democracy. One of our big advocacy areas is working to protect voting rights for disenfranchised peoples and marginalized communities, so we do a lot of work around that as well, because a fair and free democracy is when no one has unnecessary prohibitions or burdens to their voting process. But a good way for us to talk about our organization is kind of going through the history of the work that we've done and just kind of how we changed over our last, I believe, 24 years we've been an organization. So, as I said before, we are the Wisconsin chapter of the League of Conservation Voters, which is a national organization that I believe was founded in 1969, kind of to consolidate the environmentalist movement into a political voice able to do policy advocacy at that federal government. So we founded the Wisconsin chapter of Wisconsin Conservation Voters in 2001 to be a similar voice for the state legislator. So we originally had a focus on, the state legislative process to make sure that there was a political voice for conservationists in the state of Wisconsin. So in the 2002 elections, we made our first endorsements for candidates that supported conservationist policies. In 2004, we had our first conservation priority agenda, just kind of coordinating efforts between environmentalists and conservationist organizations, with about, I believe, 30 organizations that signed on in support of it. In 2005, we began our statewide organizing program because we realized to build political power to support conservationist policy, you do need people on the ground talking with people, communicating, and especially bringing their issues to the state legislator for you to have an effective political voice. In 2008, it was one of our big efforts at the time was mobilizing Wisconsinites to support the Great Lakes Compact with every other state that had a shoreline with the Great Lakes. In 2009, our Conservation Lobby Day, which is our big biannual event, reached over 500 participants for the first time, which is huge. It was able to help us get a lot of policy passed. And as well as in 2009, our Conservation Priority Coalition reached 90 groups, so it tripled in just a few years, which we are immensely proud of. So in 2011, we started our Native Vote program. We realized that there are a lot of advocacy groups for marginalized communities to increase their voter outreach, and one of the areas that there really wasn't groups formalized was for Native American communities, specifically in our tribal nations up north. So that started in 2011. By this year, we have 5 staff members working on the Native Vote program, 2 of them full-time organizers, 2 of them part-time organizers working with tribal communities in both the northern tribes and in Milwaukee to, just educate them on the voting process, let them know what their rights are, and to help them get out and go vote. This has been an immensely successful program that we are proud of, because I believe in 6 years, some of the reservations that we had organizers on increased their voter turnout by around 60%. So it has been a very impactful program, and we're really hoping that we can continue that as well. As well, in 2011, we advocated for an independent DNR secretary. We did our Conservation Lobby Day with a blaze orange theme, just to support an independent DNR not being used as a political tool. In 2012, we, for the first time, spent over $1 million in elections, endorsing candidates, running canvases, sending out mailers, just to let people know that these are the candidates that supported conservation policy. In 2018, we did a strategic shift to focus on local and people-centered campaigns and messaging, emphasizing again the impact that climate change has on just regular people. That it's not always these big. There's a lot of time where it's these big disastrous events, but it can sometimes be stuff as simple as my drinking water quality is getting worse and worse over time. That it's just these issues that compound, and they sometimes seem to not have sources. We really wanted to show people that these did have sources and actionable ways to remediate these issues. In 2017, we started work internally to become a more inclusive and diverse organization. We still, in this time of people targeting DEI, we still have a strong commitment to that, to make sure that as an organization we can continue the work to support the marginalized and to include as many people into the conservation movement as possible. In 2018, since 2018, we've been working on local clean energy commitments for communities who, were wanting to kind of go ahead with, doing solar and wind, but didn't know where to start or didn't know how to, plan for it with strategic planning. So we were helping with that at the local level, helping communities organize around that so they can, then take it to their municipalities and go forward and, get those commitments passed. So we helped out with a lot of local clean energy initiatives. There's a lot of cities, a lot of counties, and a lot of school boards on there. So some pretty big cities, and most recently, I believe it was summer last year, my hometown of Stevens Point had a commitment to 100% clean energy by 2050. We were really proud of that, and we were really glad that the community was able to, get behind us and pass that and advocate towards, clean energy in their strategic planning. So most recently, in about, I'd say, last 2-3 years, so we endorsed Supreme Court Justices Prasewicz and Crawford for their Supreme Court elections because we endorsed them because they both were conservation-minded, and they were also supportive of, keeping Wisconsin's democracy fair and free. So we were very glad to have. Most recently, we did a postcard program for the Supreme Court race. So if you got any postcards from WCV, I may have written some of them. So we sent out. We had about, I believe, 480 volunteers with over, I believe, 21,000 postcards sent out, and it was a really great program. Got a lot of people engaged in the political process and the electoral process with kind of having it be a little bit more fun, casual, because you could get a group together, write 10, 20 postcards over a cup of coffee, and just kind of talk about these issues that matter to you and why you wanted people to come out and come vote for a conservation promoting candidate. So we also lobbied at the state level to make sure that Governor Evers was going to sign into fair legislative district maps, because the last set of districts maps were horribly gerrymandered to one party. So now it's a little bit more balanced, so we can have more competitive races in districts where the population split more on where they lean partisan wise. So with our local races, I believe kind of all through like 2020 to 2024, we were doing endorsements at the local level, at the municipal level, to ensure that pro-conservation majorities who would support environmentalism and just equitable access to like clean drinking water were elected to local office all across the state. And then we as well had a canvassing campaign. It's one of the, I think, we couldn't find any other instance where people were doing a canvassing campaign based on policy education. We did that on the residential, clean energy and energy efficiency tax credits through the Inflation Reduction Act. So if I was at your house and dropped off a flyer about 30% off, tax credit rebate for solar or like heat pumps or anything like that, that was part of that program. We did, I believe, 2 canvasses in River Falls, and it was a really fun program because, unlike partisan candidates, you're not telling anyone to support either way. It was a really fun program to just have those conversations with people on both aisles and just be like, hey, this is a program that you can look into. If you're looking at doing like any home improvements, this is something that you can get some money back on. I had a lot of good conversations with people on both sides of the aisle through that, and it was honestly a lot of fun getting to talk about home improvement projects with some people who were doing home improvement projects at the time and learning, I can get $600 off these windows. So it was a really fun program, and I'm proud that I got to be a part of that. And yeah, it was immensely successful. One of the other things that we do biannually is our Conservation Lobby Day. So we do this at the beginning of each legislative session in response to the governor's proposed budget. So we make sure that Wisconsinites are talking with their legislators about these environmental issues that matter the most to them, because being able to communicate with your legislators about the needs of the community, your personal needs, and just kind of issues that are facing the community gives a lot better picture of what's actually impacting the community than if we just tell the legislator, hey, this is what's going on. We need those stories from people to show that this really impacts them, that it impacts their neighbors, it impacts their constituents, it impacts their friends and family. So just having those stories has been extremely impactful for us to communicate how dire some of these issues are. One great thing about our lobby day is each time it has led to a legislative victory. So most recently, we were able to secure $732 million in bonding authority for the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program and the Clean Water Fund Program. We are immensely proud of that. We got bipartisan support in the Joint Finance Committee. We were able then to get that through the Assembly and the Senate with no cuts to it. So that helps secure funding for municipalities to improve their drinking water infrastructure, to help like mitigate like PFAS, lead, and nitrates out of it, as well as do some like stormwater and wastewater infrastructure repairs. One of the other policy items that we focused on with this year's lobby day was to renew the Knowles Nelson program, Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program beyond 2026. Sadly, that was not included in this year's budget, but it looks like the legislator is still committed to making sure that that's reauthorized, albeit just outside of the budget. So we are still doing advocacy around that because that helps fund so many different like state parks, nonprofit conservancies, other organizations like that. Because like I looked up Senate District 10, which is our Senate district, had I believe Knowles Nelson has been around for 30 years. It had 380 projects funded partially by the Knowles Nelson program. $50 million were allocated to make sure that I believe it's 14,000 acres of land are protected. So we are still advocating to make sure that this program stays authorized and that, you know, ideally we can expand on it. So we are working to make sure that that program stays around as best as we can. So how we pick our issues is kind of, you know, with a lot of like political nonprofits, sometimes it can seem a little arbitrary how they pick their issues on what policy items they're fighting for today. But how we pick it is we first stick by our 3 policy focuses. So clean water, clean energy, fair and free democracy. We do listening sessions all across the state with, you know, members, community members, constituents about what issues are directly impacting them, just so we know, you know, what's actually going down on the ground. We want to make sure that, you know, we hear people's stories, how it's impacted them, just because, you know, what might be happening here might not be the same as Madison, which might not be the same as Green Bay, which might not be the same as Milwaukee. So we do need those diverse voices from across the state to understand, you know, is there issues facing the entire state that everyone thinks that only their community is working on? Or is there, you know, one community in particular that is getting hit pretty hard by a certain environmental issue? So we do analyze trends and common concerns among all these listening sessions to see, you know, what could be legislated, and then we work to develop feasible policy solutions, because then that's what we can take to legislators and say, hey, this is something that, you know, will actually help your community significantly. This is something that, you know, some other states have been doing. This is something that's feasible for Wisconsin. So we do try to make sure that the policies that we promote are as realistic as possible. We do strategic planning with partner organizations and collaborators, more so for kind of long-term and broader policy plans, but we also do short-term collaborations for like local initiatives or for like our conservation lobby day. We are always amicable to assisting partner organizations, because the conservation movement and the environmental movement, there's so many different organizations that need to, you know, collaborate and to assist each other to make sure that, you know, no one is getting left behind and no communities are getting left behind, and that there's like equitable access to, you know, all of the benefits of, you know, a healthy, clean environment. And then we also have to, you know, because of everything that's going on at the federal level, we do often have to react pretty quickly to what's going on up there, just because things are moving fast with how, you know, how the administration is and how the legislature is composed. So we're just trying to keep up and trying to make sure that people know what's going on at that level so we can react appropriately. But it seems like how they're acting at the federal level, they don't even know what they're doing. So it's a little hard to react when you don't know, when your opponent doesn't know what's going on. But yeah, so how we also get the word out is by doing videos. We have a storyteller on staff who goes around the state doing videos about all the different, all the different projects that local groups have been doing. To, you know, like a lot of it is like utilizing federal funds for clean energy projects. Some of it's also like learning about how organizations had advocated against contaminants for drinking water. And the closest one I found was Hope Village out in Chippewa Falls, who utilized the federal funds from the Inflation Reduction Act to have solar on, like, it's a really cool project. It's like a tiny home community for people who are like in between housing, so mainly like unhoused people. And I think it was a high school group that did it. And it was really cool. So instead of talking about it, how about I show you?
Has quite a few people that are low income and quite a few people that are homeless.
The solar will help us in our ongoing mission to help house folks that are homeless.
Every federal dollar spent on this project, I think Hope ends up getting like $3 or $4 over the long run. So it's very impactful to the community.
We found in our community the best place to apply for a grant is Hope Village. We decided that's the place we're going to apply for. We want to do solar panels. Then we sat down, did I don't know how many hours of grant writing, all worked together, reviewed it 10, 20 times, and finally submitted it.
Hope Village has existed for 8 years. Really what we're trying to do is help people who are struggling with housing get back on their feet as quickly as we possibly can. We now have 11 tiny houses. In the last 8 years, we've housed over 100 households.
We sat around a table watching his smartboard in his room, and they were announcing the award winners. And they announced our name, and we all just kind of freaked out. We all were so excited. Me, Kim, and Bella, we kind of just sat there, we were like, we did it.
Getting the grant, I don't know, it's like you can't describe that feeling, but I think it was more impactful when we got to like share the news with Hope Village and all the people there. Beating out all these like professional grant writers was pretty crazy, I would say, but I think it also like goes to show how high schoolers can also make a difference.
The girls did such a wonderful job putting these grants together. They were the top scorers out of everybody who wrote for the grant. So that says a lot about the heart of the young people in our community. Over the 30-year lifetime of the panels will save over $380,000 in energy costs. So the amount that we would pay in electric each year, that savings can go into building more affordable housing or into providing more services for the folks that we shelter.
That extra money will be allocated in a way that will help more families, that will help high schoolers. There's been high schoolers who have lived there for a couple months getting on their feet. So knowing and somebody can be my age and that they will have a safe place to live, I'm so excited.
I think this project's gonna have a pretty big impact.
Federal funding has made this project possible. President Biden's Affordable Clean Energy Plan was a tremendous boost to us here at Hope Village. Those resources are important, and if they went away, nonprofits would struggle.
If we didn't get the funding from President Biden's clean energy plan, the project wouldn't have happened. So getting that through the grant made it possible.
In the case of the Hope project here, the return on investment over the 30-year period is going to be, for every dollar, something like $3 or $4 will come back to Hope. To me, that's a wonderful use of federal money, and it's going to be a big deal for our community to help those that are less fortunate.
So those federal funds and the availability of the tax credits are really important to us because it allowed us to get these things done and accomplish the goals that we have of just helping those in our community that struggle with housing. So it's been a tremendous blessing to us.
But yeah, we have our video storytelling manager does tons of videos like that to just show people the impact of all these great projects. It started out originally as just part of like the Inflation Reduction Act funding, but it expanded into a lot of advocacy around like clean water, how communities have been mobilizing against it. I think one of the most recent videos he had was one from like the North Shore of Superior about how a group advocated against a pork CAFO. So I know that there's a lot of advocacy around, against CAFOs around here, so just kind of showing just all the ways people have advocated, how people have utilized all the federal funding. We found it to be really impactful because it then shows people that change is possible, that improvement is possible, and that we can work together to all contribute to fighting climate change. So it is a little bit of a bummer. Well, understatement of the year that the funding for the Inflation Reduction Act has been rescinded. Honestly, it's been pretty tragic, just because as well as all the other federal cuts as well, but because a lot of projects like that one won't be likely to happen for until there's another shift up, hopefully for the better, at the federal government. So how we can get involved to help kind of protect our natural resources, how to protect, our transition into clean energy, how to help with clean water. The easiest thing you can do is just sign some of our active petitions to legislators. So the most important one right now is the clean energy commitment to 2050. So that is just, so we do have a copy of that petition out in the back, and the text of that petition is, let me just bring it up real quick. Or I can read it off that. So strongly supporting the fight for pollution-free communities and to move our country towards 100% clean energy by 2050. We call on federal, state, and local elected officials to support this work and to hold them accountable for their decisions, actions, and inactions. So just signing this petition would be just a huge help to us, because we do want to show all of our legislators that honestly we are quite pissed with how the direction of what the big beautiful bill did with all the federal funding. So just signing on to that would be greatly appreciated, just because we want to show them that their constituents disagree with a lot of, if not all of the choices in that bill. As well, if you're interested in supporting our work, we do tons of work. As you've heard, $10 a month is our recommended donation to become a monthly member. So if you're interested in donating to Wisconsin Conservation Voters, that website is conservationvoters.org/donate. If you want to keep up to date with all of our work, we do a newsletter. It's pretty infrequent. It's about weekly to every other week. If you want to just kind of keep updated as to what's going on, with environmental politics in the area, or you want to be in the loop about local events that we're hosting, I would highly recommend going to conservationvoters.org/sign-up. As well, please contact your legislators about reauthorizing the Knowles-Nelson Stewardship Program. This is, one of the great parts of Wisconsin's conservation policy. It is, not many other states have something like it, and it really helps tons of acreage get, preserved for, wildlife and environmental conservation. Like, I was looking up projects that Knowles-Nelson funded, and the closest one to this congregation is quite literally across the street. It's the Alexander Oak Savanna. The Prairie Enthusiasts got a grant for that in 2018 to purchase it and to restore it to Oak Savanna land. So looking up all the different projects at the Knowles-Nelson organization website is honestly a lot of fun, because you see how many different projects were possible based on this stewardship fund. So if you're interested in helping us contact our legislators about it, please look at knowlesnelson.org/take-action. That one's ran through Gathering Waters, but they've been doing a campaign for just getting in contact with your legislators through either phone calls, emails, or postcards. So it'd be really great if you could help us, fight to keep Knowles-Nelson around. And then if you have any, local environmental issues, please feel free to contact us. That is what we're here for. We want to help partner organizations. We want to work with people to make sure that everyone has access to clean drinking water. Everyone is, not having to worry about, coal or gas plants burning fossil fuels, so we can transition to clean energy. And we want to make sure that everyone has access to vote. So if you're interested in, getting in, having us help you out, my email is quinn@conservationvoters.org. And yeah, I'm more than happy to sit down with anyone, talk, and just kind of see how we can work together, how I can help you out. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, so I'll open the floor to any questions. Thank you guys for being such a great audience. Yes.
I do have a question. This week I had a door knocker representing a conservative organization come to my door and say that Governor Evers was supporting solar farms in Wisconsin, or in Pierce and St. Croix County, which was a good thing, but he was supporting cutting down many, many acres of trees to build these solar farms. And I had to say, I hadn't heard that, and I would have to check that out. Do you know anything about the millions of trees that are being cut down for solar farms?
I hadn't heard about that either. I know that right now there's organizers going against a proposed solar facility by, I believe the one in St. Croix County is Excel.
512.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And then, from what I could hear from their presentations, it sounded like they were already putting these solar panels on already existed and cleared farmland. I haven't heard anything about cutting trees, but then again.
So it's actually kind of by my house, and what they're doing is they took a part of land that used to be farmed and hasn't been farmed in over a decade, and nothing's there. So that's what they're using, but people are going around saying stuff like that, or it's taking away farmland, but it's not because it's not been used in over a decade. So they're just building a solar farm right down the road from where we live, and it's been a huge community-wide ridiculousness.
Well, there's one big issue with that comment, and that is both counties are originally prairie or savanna, so there's not a lot of trees already. And I think the Pierce Pepin put a farm in now on 35, and that piece, it did take trees down, and there were very sickly looking pine trees. Somebody had a plantation of pines that did not do well, and so it was a loss.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Have you guys quantified what the negative impact of this bill passing in Washington will be in Wisconsin? Like what kind of loss will be?
We have not quantified it yet, just because it will be significant, and we want to just make sure that we're not being too conservative or too liberal in our estimation, because it's a mess, and we just
It's notable that the Universalist was founded by the Republicans, and it's a Republican ideal to conserve.
Yeah, we have gotten legislators from both parties to talk to say that they were amicable to keeping Knowles Nelson around. It's just right now a lot of it is about how much funding and for how many years. So we supported Governor Evers' original proposal for $100 million a year over 10 years. We think that would be huge, because it would help make sure that there's enough money for purchases of new land and not just maintenance. But yeah, that's something that has to be kind of hashed out in the legislature, but that's why local impact is so important from constituents, because if you can say this park near my house that me and my family use pretty regularly was completely funded or partially funded through Knowles Nelson, then it has a story and it has a connection, and then you're able to kind of push your legislators to say, well, maybe this can't just be a maintenance fund. Maybe this needs to be there for new purchases. But yeah, Knowles Nelson is also named after two governors of Wisconsin, two great conservationists. Governor Knowles, I believe, is from St. Croix County, and then Governor Nelson, the founder of Earth Day. So yeah, it does contribute. Knowles Nelson does also just kind of, even in the naming, just show the bipartisan nature of conservation in Wisconsin and why, we need to make sure that conservationist focus stays. So yeah, thank you for that point. Yes, Don.
So you in your history, you had 30 organizations, we have in just the River Falls area, all of these different smaller organizations that there's, I'm sure, the Kenny River Land Trust, Pheasants Unlimited. I don't know all of them, the Prairie Enthusiasts. Is there any other group that's coordinating these small groups into a political power than yours, or are you the only game in Wisconsin?
There's some organizations that do it regionally, but we are, with our lobby day, we do a lot of trying to just get people all across the state to coordinate on a pretty small policy agenda. We try to keep that narrow focus, so it's all issues that, that impact everyone or impact, marginalized communities across the state. A lot of other organizations do some coordinating, but I'm off the top of my head, I can't think of any other ones, but we really emphasize coordination with partners just because, we all, different organizations just have different skills and different assets, so being able to utilize assets in an equitable and collaborative fashion is just really a good way for us to get policy passed. And
I asked that question because Hope for Earth is trying to develop a climate action plan, like Stephen's point did, and it's just hard to get going and have everybody in the same direction.
Yeah, no, getting those climate action plans can always be tough to set up just because each local government has very much a different culture than the one next door. There's all different municipal codes. Just trying to make sure that what you're doing is, correct and legal for the area is a big part of the game. So, yeah, we have a lot of background in doing all those, local clean energy commitments and being able to, help people make power for getting those done, because you do have to do constituent lobbying. You do have to be talking with your elected officials to show them that this is an important issue to you, that you really want the community to be a clean community. So, yeah, it does take a lot of coordination from different groups. I can't remember off the top of my head what groups helped us with the point one, but I know that it was done in collaboration with a few groups.
Okay. All right.
Great. Thank you all for being a great audience.
Well, $10 to join the organization. I'm signing up. Well, I lost my mojo. Oh, okay. As I understand it, we're going to have an in-person board meeting this time, right, Allison? You gotta meet face to face. In case you've forgotten, let the board members that are here please stand up here. Look at that. Thank you. Have a great year. So another experiment, just Soapbox Sunday. My soapbox will be, I'm still involved with redistricting, and as Quinn mentioned, you have to get involved with politics if you're going to have policy change. I was an apolitical person 2 or 3 years ago, and now this issue of getting an independent redistricting commission established instead of having the legislators draw their own districts. It's 5 years away, but you have to start working earlier. So you'll probably hear me on my soapbox next Sunday about an IRC in Wisconsin. It's not going to be easy. Poetry Club is meeting that time, and if you missed Eileen Korenig's first talk here, was great. I requested her to talk about uncertainty. She's going to combine sort of turn of the century. This is like 20th century surrealism, Dadaism, that art to quantum mechanics. Don't let that scare you, okay? But she's great at combining these two, what you might think are disparate areas, science and art.
What did she talk about the first time she was here?
Well,
Architecture and
Camino. Actually, we invited her to talk about the Star of Bethlehem. And she was sick that time, so Ann and I pinch hit with her slides. And then the Camino and the stained glass and architecture, remember, let's see, Gothic and Romanesque arches, etc.
Maybe Don, for people who don't know Eileen Korenig, she lives locally. She's a retired physics professor from UW River Falls, and she's just a brilliant and interesting person and very fun and interesting to listen to.
She also does amateur acting.
Yes, so that makes her a very entertaining lecturer. Her astronomy lecture, I think she just retired, but her astronomy introductory classes were well attended at the university. I know that, and I could see why. Community readings. Following that, we get together. We had some good readings this month. Yeah?
we have to leave pretty much after the service. The garden has cilantro, mint, parsley. There's a few small zucchini. Get them now. And there are sugar peas over towards the orange fence there. Please go pick. We won't have time for me to do it, but
Sugar what?
Sugar peas.
You're welcome to pick. And dill.
And dill.
The dill-
It smells so good.
The dill reseeded itself, so it's kind of everywhere.
Yeah. Any other announcements from the floor? Okay. We got that great coffee in the kitchen. Join us. And I think I put the basket out there on the chair. It is? Okay. Well, as you pass by, give it a look and maybe throw something in there. Or I really appreciate the people who do a monthly kind of pledge automatically. And Carrie appreciates that too, I bet. All right. Here we are. So let's gather together. We join hands here, Quinn, and just say these words from Thessalonians from the New Testament.